name is Joe Hoxbergen. Professionally, I go by Joe Hox. I'm an illustrator and an artist. I remember my parents would talk about neighbors approaching them and talking about the crooked rows of hay that I would mow, probably because my head was in the clouds. And I literally took a sketchbook with me when I would mow the hay for my dad in high school. There are a lot of things like that where, I put the tractor or skid steer in the ditch because I was kind of thinking about possibilities and dreaming. And now I get to do that for a living. It's remarkable. It's amazing. I would say my path to becoming a professional illustrator started by obsessing over the artwork that I saw in books as a kid. There's a copy of Dr. Seuss's McElligot's Pool that I obsessed over. And I read that thing and read that thing and read that thing until it was just tatters. Some kids have a blanket that they love until it's just nothing but threads, and for me it was that book. And a host of other books. And what amazed me was that these illustrators had the power to totally create an entire world that you could experience. They could transport you anywhere, and it was just amazing to me. To be able to have that superpower myself really became something that I wanted to pursue. I think my favorite piece that I've ever made is a little intaglio print that I made for my wife as an engagement gift. It's two trees, and their roots are going deep down into the ground, and their roots are intertwined. And the idea is that they're planted together, and hopefully they're growing together in rich, fertile soil, a really strong foundation. And for us, that's faith. I consider myself a Christian and an artist, not a Christian artist. But I do think the impulse to spread joy or to uplift, you'll find that throughout my work. I'm always motivated to help people take a break from a really weary and challenging world. The main thing I do to stay fresh and to keep challenging myself as an artist, aside from the work itself, is to keep a sketchbook. And sketchbook isn't just a tool, it's not something you draw in. It's really, for me, it's a way of life. So wherever I go, I bring my sketchbook with me. Whether it's church or whether I'm watching the kids at a play and I can sketch during the intermission, I'm always looking. You keep learning and keep growing. It never stops. When I graduated from college with a newly minted art major, I longed for some sort of manual that I could follow. This is the process for becoming a professional artist. While there's plenty of art career books, there's plenty of business books, there was nothing that really satisfied that longing. It is just a matter of jumping in and making a bunch of mistakes until you have something resembling a career. I can say that the most important thing through all that was having a support system. For me, it was my wife. She was an incredible encouragement. She was always there with a wise word. That was incredibly valuable. And so she was my voice of reason through a lot of I wonder if this is going to work. My wife and I have 4 kids, and they play a really big part in work and life. I want my kids to be involved because kids are so inherently creative. Sometimes they come up with ideas that are so audacious that it would never work in one of these books that I'm working on. But sometimes it's just a matter of feeding off their energy and seeing how they respond to illustrations. I have a focus group right in my house that I can share my work with. 2 of the best pieces of advice I've ever gotten from veteran creatives. One was from Andrew Peterson, and he said, if you want to thrive creatively in this world, try coming up with a project that's much bigger than what you can tackle on your own. Find people who share that vision but have the skills that you lack, and lean on them to do that part and make something that's much bigger than yourself. The other piece of advice came from Eddie Effa. He's a potter, and he suggested one of the best practices for an artist is to take on not this position of elite genius, but to take on the position of a servant. And so when Eddie throws his pots on the potter's wheel, he's meditating on the people who will be drinking out of that mug maybe. And what a great posture. That's so much better than an artist thinking, I'm going to show them, I'm going to prove how great I am. And I think it's much more imitative of the Savior. Oh man, it's hard not to look at.
It's
Yeah,
literally in your
Yeah. Did I get it?
got away, I think.
That sucker. I'm sorry.